live or what? There we go. I see the preview now. Hey everybody. You should be able to hear me. Yeah, it looks like my microphone's working. Hi Isaiah. Thanks for stopping by. He's saying he'll be busy at work, so probably won't be commenting too much. He says, smoke me a kipper. I'll be back for breakfast. Hi, Daryl. So been looking forward to this. So nice to meet a wonderful Red Dwarf community. Thank you for giving us your insight, too. Well, thank you. Yeah, I think we do have a pretty nice little community here. It's better than the rest of the Red Dwarf community. Well, I shouldn't say the rest, but better than certain other segments of the Red Dwarf community. Because I've definitely got a little bit of hate on some of my videos. Hi, Pajama Critic. I like your name. Missed my D&D game to wait for a plumber who didn't arrive. God, I hate that. Silver lining, I get to join in the watch party from the start. Still no heating at home. Oh, that's a bummer. I hope you're not in an area where it's too cold. I've seen one before. Quite a few people have, so I'm guessing it's a Cybercat Red Dwarf vlog watch party. Hi, Special Iron. Hi, Julia. Hi, how do I say your name? Tiresias? Tiresias? You can hear me, that's good. Hi, Adam Besley. Stoke me a clip or I'll be back for Christmas. You would be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't be surprised at how many people have tried to correct me on that. Actually, it's smoke me a kipper. One guy actually got to the point of actually explaining to me that Brits have kippers for breakfast. I'm like, dude, fucking go on IMDb and read the title. It's Stoke Me a Clipper. Because Rimmer's saying it wrong. Anyway, sorry. Got a little triggered there. I saw Holly on the screen and had an image of her saying, you're a total smeghead, aren't you, Dina? Of course you're alive. Hi, Thriller Mike. Thank you. I appreciate we tend to, so far, only attract the actual fans rather than the knobheads that denigrate your nationality. Yeah. Got my pot noodle ready because there's so many references in Red Dwarf. Hi, Styx. Hi, Moonbeam. I'm referring to the episode called Stoke Me a Clipper. No, Rimmer does not say smoke me a kipper. He says it wrong. That's the whole point. Sorry if I was being a little vague there. I kind of went on a little rant. I love it when you actually know lore about the show and those kinds of... Brit myself never ever consumed a kipper, though I love... Rimmer, absolutely my favorite character, and I love your stuff. Watched all your reviews while at work. Naughty, but it was worth it. Thank you. I listen to YouTube videos when I'm at work. Try not to watch them too much, but... Hi, Julia. I don't think I saw you before. Never had a pot noodle. Is it like an instant ramen bowl type thing? Yeah, I assume it's like cup of noodles. In fact, I remember in Red Dwarf USA, they changed it to cup of noodles. I'm not sure why they think it's that bad, though, unless pot noodles is especially bad. I think cup of noodles is okay. It's a little bland, but for an instant soup, it's not that bad. Chris Berry even forgets the smoke me a kipper line from what I've seen from panels at various conventions. That's funny. Don't apologize. Loved it. Kippers are disgusting. Hi, Kirk. Is it Kirky or Kirk? Anyway, kippers are disgusting. Yeah, I'm not. I don't care for fish myself, so I'm sure I wouldn't like them. Yeah, you didn't miss anything, Sticks. I'm just kind of getting caught up on the chat before starting up here. Jellied eel. Ugh. Doesn't sound good to me. Noodles are great. The little bits at the bottom, not so much. Pot noodles are great with a little soy sauce, but does depend on your palate. Yeah. The way I eat cup of noodles is I try to add as little water as possible so it's got a little more flavor to it. And yeah, obviously adding soy sauce would make it a little better. Pot noodle is good, it's just not very classy in British culture. Sounds about right. Oh yeah, or hot sauce would be a good addition too. Hi, Brandon. So does blood pudding have real blood in it? I would assume so. Smoked salmon for breakfast, though, with eggs Benedict, classic holiday food. If you say so. You know what's stupid? I keep getting copyright, keep getting like, not strikes, but I keep getting dinged by the content ID after these streams. Even though this is so fucking small on the screen, it still somehow catches it. Went through a small pot noodle phase many years ago. It's great if you're in a hurry. Prefer pan-boiled stuff, however, yeah, of course. Go to Blue Alert. Hi, Thriller Mike. I don't think I saw you before. Well, it didn't take long to get into the food stream, did it? That's true. Dina copyrighted herself? What? Aight, let's go. We'll watch the opening one time. Ooh, stop messing with my hair. Oh, I forgot my cat ears. More of a sausage. Oh, yeah. I knew that. I had forgotten, but I knew. Actually, this hair is bothering me. I think I'm gonna put it up.
Oh, look who's back.
Howdy doodly do.
Admit it, you missed Talkie Toaster. Stop lying, I know you did.
You will not offer any grilled bread products to any member of the crew. Now, if you do, you will be on the receiving end of a very large polo mallet.
Can I ask just one question?
Wait for it.
Would anyone like any toast?
So Crichton reveals that he has wrought the horrors of Talkie Toaster onto the Red Dwarf crew. He's testing out a technique called intelligence compression. Basically, in shortening its lifespan, he can bring up its intelligence. He's hoping it'll also work on Holly.
We could restore her IQ of 6,000. She could be brilliant again.
Holly has computer senility, for which Crichton has an example.
His name was Gilbert, but he preferred it if people called him Ramesses Niblick III. Kerplunk, kerplunk, whoops, where's my thribble? A sad case.
They also have a rare conversation about what their long-term options are. Lister is hoping that Holly could invent a hyperdrive that will get them home quicker, but Crichton points out that the human race may very well no longer exist.
She can invent a time machine and we could all pick whatever period in history wants to live in.
Rimmer wants to serve under Napoleon because of course he does.
A chance to march across Europe with the greatest general of all time and kill Belgians.
Crichton wants to go back to last
Kill
Tuesday.
Belgians.
I did all the laundry, and then we watched TV. Wow, we won't see the like of those sort of days again.
It must be nice being that easy to please.
Nearly there, Hall. Just a couple of minutes to load the circuits and, I don't know, maybe a minute to finalize the connection.
Meanwhile, Holly counts by banging her head against the monitor. So a bit later, Holly is having her intelligence compressed. But rather than having her intelligence restored, she ends up with double her original IQ.
Strike a light, I'm a genius again.
Fun fact, not the first time Holly has said that.
Strike a light. It's golden.
I know everything. Metaphysics, philosophy, the purpose of being, everything.
Holly wants to test her newfound IQ by having Talkie Toaster quiz her,
Any question at all? Truly anything and you will answer.
Yes.
which results in some delicious banter.
Given that God is infinite, would you like a toasted tea cake?
It's another bready question.
It's not just Freddy, it's quite currenty, too.
Ask me a question that is wholly unbready and not even slightly currenty.
Eventually, Talkie Toaster asks a
That's so
legitimate
funny.
question.
So what is your life expectancy? 345 years.
What's the decimal point?
You have only 3.41 years left to live?
That's not years, that's minutes. 3.41 minutes.
Well, here's my next question. What the smeg are you going to do?
So Holly only has a little over 3 minutes of runtime left, so she switches herself off. Unfortunately, Holly switching herself off results in the power to the ship being shut off as well. And the ship is so tech-reliant that there isn't even a way to get the doors open.
We laser our way through. An excellent suggestion, sir, with just two minor drawbacks. One, we don't have a power source for the lasers, and two, we don't have any lasers.
Yeah, Cat having a plan that has only 2 drawbacks ends up being one of my favorite running gags. So apparently the doors aren't very strong, so Lister suggests using something as a battering ram.
Or we need something, say, I don't know, 6 foot long, fairly sturdy with a flat top.
The lighting on Cat there is perfect.
You okay, man?
I'm fine, thank you, Susan.
So they've made it back to Holly, and Rimmer wants to know why she turned herself off.
Go away.
Wait.
But Holly doesn't want to stay on long enough to tell him.
You're a total smeghead, aren't you, Rimmer? I'm about to expire in just under 2 minutes. Any further questions? Take your time. No rush.
My God, that's terrible. Haven't we just switch you off?
Oh, I don't know. Let me see now.
Have I mentioned that I love girl type Holly? So now they're back to
I
where
forgot
they
that I
were
used to
before.
call her girl type Holly.
Grand Canyon nostrils are still here.
Out of all of Cat's nicknames for Rimmer, I think that's my favorite. So it turns out that Rimmer
That's a reference to Ranma 1/2 if anyone isn't familiar with it, boy and girl type.
is running on backup. Switching him off would take a lot of the drain off the battery, but it would basically kill Rimmer.
Space Corps Directive 195 clearly states that in an emergency power situation, a
Holly.
hologrammatic crew member must lay down his life in order that the living crew members might survive.
Oh, here we go with the Space Corps directives. That's going to become a running joke too once Rimmer gets a hold of it.
Yes, but Rimmer Directive 271 states just as clearly, no chance you metal bastard.
In any case, that's not going to happen.
Let's just say
chance,
we
you
can
metal
eliminate the switch
bastard.
off option.
We can't get any food out of the dispensing machines. Gonna have to scavenge what we can grab on the cargo decks.
Plus, we're gonna have to spend another 20 minutes sawing the lid off the can because all the openers are electric.
Wow, talk about a poorly made ship. You'd think there would be alternative ways to do things without power in case the power ever went out.
My turn on the electric blanket. Pedal.
You're wearing a fur coat, asshole. This is why Lister's head
Right.
exploded all over you in the last episode. Karma.
You're wearing a fur coat, asshole. Sorry to laugh at my own joke, but
Meanwhile, there's a weird time dilation thing going on with Crichton and Rimmer, which is funnier than it should be.
I think it came from outside the ship.
What about from over here?
Also, Rimmer slowed down sounds surprisingly like Andre the Giant.
And now, normal.
Anyway, they go to consult Holly about what's going on. They end up all meeting together, and this gem of a conversation takes place.
So what is it?
I've never
Here
seen
we
one
go.
before. No one has, but I'm guessing it's a white hole.
a white hole.
The gist of what Crichton is saying is that they've encountered a white hole. Where a black hole sucks time and matter, a white hole returns it. And now they're stuck in a time loop.
So what is it?
I've never seen one before. No one has, but I'm guessing it's a white hole.
A white
hole.
Well, sometimes it's a loop, and other times it's just time jumping around randomly.
Okay, so it's decided then. We consult Holly.
I missed the discussion.
We all did.
Anyway, they agree to consult Holly.
White,
Yes.
hole,
Right.
spewing,
Yes.
time.
Quickly.
Advice, please.
Right.
It's a computer slug.
So what is it?
I've never seen one before. No one has.
I love how the scene ends in the middle of that conversation, so you don't know how many times they actually went through that loop.
Yep.
Anyway, at some point, they look at the disc Holly gave them, and she has generated a 3D diagram showing them what they need to do. Basically, Starbug will fire a projectile that will hit the nearest sun, which will cause an explosion that will knock a planet into the white hole, plugging it up. But Lister doesn't think it'll work.
Wow, what do you think she's doing? Playing pool with planets.
Is that possible?
But it's not going to work. Not the idea, the shot. There's not enough side.
He swears up and down that despite Holly's knowledge, he can still play pool better than her.
She's topped it. That's what she's done. She's topped it. It's a felt ripper. That planet is off the table into somebody's pint of beer.
Rimmer disagrees, so they put it to a vote.
What's your vote, Lister?
Well, I vote for Dave Cinzano Bianco Lister.
1-0 to Listy Poo.
Listy Poo.
I agree with you, buddy. But I'm voting for Duty Breath.
And since voting is almost always a popularity contest, Rimmer loses.
Couldn't put my cross next to the Brian Nylon party.
Well, I agree it's insane and suicidal, sir, but I'm afraid
Trying
I
to get
have
past
to
the
side
copyright
with
ID with the
Brutal.
So now Lister gets to play pool
with
with
extreme
planets.
close-ups, and it looks
You miss,
terrible.
We're gonna get a planet in the face.
I'm not going to miss.
Mish.
If
Mish.
he doesn't end up drinking so much he can't focus.
Remember, you relax. I know what I'm doing. I am not pissed.
Cue a neat little sequence where he gets in the zone by imagining he's playing real pool in a pub.
He's missed.
We're finished.
She rides.
But he gets it anyway, which may or may not have been intentional depending on which crew member you ask.
Are you trying to say that was a trick shot? Intended. Pool god, king of the queues, prince of the planet Potters.
So it turns out that plugging up the white hole means that they're now in a redundant timeline and this entire episode basically didn't happen.
Reviving the toaster? Making Holly a genius? None of this is going to have happened. But we will exist back on Red Dwarf, before all this began. With, of course, no memory of these events.
So now Crichton can tell off Rimmer again with no repercussions.
It's one of my
You
favorite
are the
Crichton
most
scenes.
obnoxious, trumped up, farty little snakehead
Farty.
it has ever been my misfortune to encounter.
And so ends White Hole.
A white hole.
This is a really fun episode, and another one of my favorites. While Queeg was Boy Type Holly's episode, White Hole is
Type.
Girl Type Holly's episode. And I'm really glad she got one. And like Queeg, this one is kind of nearing the end of her run on the show. She still has another season to go, but she ends up with less screen time because Crichton ends up taking over her role as the character who explains the technical stuff. I consider this a Holly episode because, while the story is partly about her, she gets more screen time than usual and gets some great dialogue. But really everyone gets their moment in this episode. Talkie Toaster returns. By the way, this time he's voiced by David Ross, the original Crichton. And he is great as always.
Yes.
Rimmer refusing to
Itches.
sacrifice himself for the good of the crew, and taking a story from history about someone making a sacrifice and turning it around. Crichton telling off Rimmer in the end. Cat being Cat. And of course Lister playing pool with planets. And then there's that discussion of what a white hole is that is one hell of an earworm if you watch it all the way through, with how it gets repeated 4 to 5 times. It's pretty quotable among Red Dwarf fans. Next up is Dimension Jump. See you then.
Channel awful.
Before you go, there is one question, an important one. The others will have to know.
What? What?
Would you like a cheese and ham breville?
Look into his effed up.
Whoops. Went too far there. There we go. Okay. Get caught up on the chat really quick. Food is great. It tastes wonderful and makes your belly full. That's true. It's why dieting is so hard. But blood pudding usually goes with fry-ups and is made from pig's blood. I don't know what fry-ups refers to. How do you copyright? I don't know what you're talking about, Sticks. Do you hear the secret Red Dwarf robot vocals in the intro? I don't know what you mean. You can't be a woman on the internet without cat ears. It's the law. What's her name? A YouTuber I watch who is trans. Keffels. Keffels wears these like big fluffy cat ears. That voice is so familiar. Who's the woman talking? I'm not sure what part you're talking about. Oh, you're making a joke, duh. Favorite UK Scottish breakfast food is Lorne sausage roll with egg. Nothing beats it. I don't know what a... Oh, are you talking about like Scotch eggs? I've never had that, but it sounds really good. You're probably not talking about that. I don't know what a Breville is. I guess it must be a UK thing. Love the bit where Lister rattles off the list of bread products that he won't eat. And naturally he forgot one. Hi, Adam. I don't think I saw you before. The kill Belgians line always gets me. Yeah, I know. I guess there's probably some kind of historical significance to that, but it just sounds so random to me. Yay, kill Belgians! I love the expression on her face when her IQ reaches 68. I know it's a dumb visual gag, but it's still funny. Female Holly is my favorite. Yeah, mine too, I think. It's great that Hattie gets more time to shine here. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, this is kind of a female Holly episode. I now wonder if the line delicious banter was deliberate. I don't think so. I'm not usually that clever. Anyone wonder what Earth might be like after 3 million years? Like if all animals are like cat people. Oh, if all animals are humanoid like the cats. I doubt it. I doubt all animals would do that. There was an interesting show on like years and years ago called The Future is Wild, and it was sort of like Walking with Dinosaurs, except that like some scientists got together and tried to theorize what animals in the future might evolve into, and it was interesting. You have squids walking around on land. Giant squids. I'm fine, thank you, Susan. Hi, Tolchok. Any ideas? Any guess what's in Dina's cup? Yep, it's crystallite. Actually, it's citrus. It's just called citrus flavor. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I guess it tastes like orange and grapefruit and maybe lemon. But most importantly, it's caffeinated, so hopefully I won't get sleepy halfway through the stream again. Hall she and hall he. That's terrible. This scene is just as good in the book. Oh yeah, I think I heard it was in one of the books. Hi, Kai Eberhardt. I skipped the Captain Oates bit. I know. It's a good bit, but I can't keep everything in. Captain Oates was a prat. It is a good bit. I could have stuck it at the end, but I wanted to have Holly's bit where she's trying to turn off and Talkie Toaster's like, wait, I have an important question. And it's just like, usual thing. Why are all the openers electric? See, that was my thought. Why would they not have some that aren't electric just in case? Probably a money thing why the ship is so badly built. That's true. It does seem like it's on a budget. At one point, stage left, you can hear someone's cell phone chime? Huh. I didn't catch that. True story, when I saw the movie Cube 2 Hypercube, oh my god, I saw that recently and it was so bad. They had a scene just like Rimmer and Crichton speaking in slow-mo. Oh, do I remember that? I know there was some weird time dilation shit for like no reason. Sounds about right. One of the greatest conversations in sitcom history, yeah. It's true, Holly has no pool experience or hands. Rimmer disagrees is kind of his thing, that's true. Hi, Tyjan, I don't think I saw you before. Just gonna point out this episode is a top contender for best Red Dwarf episode just because it's filled to the brim with great jokes. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, Lister's little dance at the end was cool. He did a little like ballet routine. Oh no, I've gone cross-eyed. Crichton gets a golden opportunity that he'll never get again. Yeah, exactly. Doesn't he break all the protocols of his programming? I mean, yeah, but I guess maybe because there's not going to be any repercussions, he's able to bypass it. I don't know. It's probable that every time Crichton insults Rimmer, Rimmer has Crichton reprogrammed behind his back. It could be. It's close, but I prefer Norman as Holly mainly because I've seen both he and Hattie live, and his comedy is just my type of ostentatious surrealism. Fair enough. Probably the most quotable episodes in the entire run. Yeah. Took years for me to realize that New Talkie Toaster was old Crichton. Yeah. I wouldn't have picked up on it if I hadn't, seen them talk about it in the making of documentary. Check out the Red Dwarf audiobooks read by Chris Berry. I did listen to the first one. I did listen to Infinity Welcomes Careful Drivers, and I got partway into Better Than Life, and I don't know, I just lost interest during that one, and I never got around to going back to them. Fry Up is full English breakfast: sausage, eggs, beans, tomatoes, toast, etc. Ah, okay, see. It implies fried food, but I wasn't sure like which food, but full English breakfast, got it. I like Keffel. She's pretty cool. She's a bit of a troll, but you gotta learn to not take everything she says seriously. Basically, Howard Goodall put synth vocals singing Red Dwarf into the intro from season 3 onwards. It's easier to hear it once you know where it is. Huh. I'll try to keep an ear out for that. What's your theory on what happens to dog and rat races in alternate timelines? Oh, good question. I don't really have one. Also, hi, 7 Beetles of Doom. I don't think I've seen you in a while. Hey, Hershey. A Breville is a brand of sandwich toaster. Oh, okay. When someone says Breville, they just mean toasted sandwich. Oh, okay. Interesting. Kind of like how over here we always say Kleenex when we mean facial tissues. You just get used to saying a certain brand name and it kind of sticks. A fry up is a full English, but at any time of the day, Was there ever a female Crichton? There was in, well, you know what? There was in Camille, although it wasn't real, but still, visually, there was a female Crichton. And also in, what was the name? I can't think of the name of the episode where they all got turned into mechanoids. And there was that whole like group of androids. I'm pretty sure some of them were female. Yeah, Special Iron Hardy answered. What on Earth would be like, what Earth would be like is actually covered in the book Better Than Life, out of the solar system in a new ice age and covered in garbage. Bleak but believable, yeah. I should point out, I was talking about that special, and I already forgot what it was called. The Future is Wild, that's what it's called. It was originally made in the UK, and it was a UK thing, but then they had like an American version where they changed the narrator, and it was weird. But anyway, I don't know why it said all that. But anyway, they actually, for that, they take humans out of the equation. The implication is that humans either died or left the planet. In the American version, they specifically said that humans left the planet. It was kind of funny. Highly recommend that if you can find it, though. Even if you think it's kind of far-fetched, it's really entertaining, the kind of stuff they come up with. Future is Wild had an animated spin-off show. Oh my god, I forgot about that. That was so random. Animated spin-off show about students being sent to the future Earth to study animals. Yeah, to be clear, I'm talking about the original special, not that. I forgot all about that. It blew my mind when I saw that. The creator of Crichton was female and got back at her fiance, so no female Crichton. Technically not true. There was clearly some made at some point. Maybe not by her directly. Red Dwarf tagline should not have been too weird for words. It should have been, trust me, you're not on acid. This is real. Oh god, you watched Cube too. I'm sorry. Yeah. Because I thought the original Cube was really good. And it was one of those really great little indie films. And then I heard Cube 2 wasn't as bad, but I was not expecting it to be as bad as it was. Or I heard it wasn't as good as the first. I was not expecting it to be as bad as it was. Not as bad as Cube Zero. I guess I'll have to check out that one too at some point. Talkie Toaster would be unplugged a lot. Yeah. Cube 2 isn't that bad. It's just a movie that happens to exist. It's also completely nonsensical, though. Like the original Cube, there wasn't anything like any weird sci-fi shit in it. Cube Zero was unnecessary but not terrible. That's good. You'd have to have a lot of patience to keep it plugged in. Taijan, when I said I don't think I saw you before, I meant in this stream, not that I've never seen you. I recognize your name, don't worry. Is catnip considered a hard drug among the cats in Red Dwarf? Well, I remember Kat saying something to that effect. I can't remember the line, but it was that one where the reality, what were they called? The unreality pockets or something like that. He said something like how he felt like he was on extra strength catnip or something like that. Pun time, the letter X just got fired from his job as a crossing guard. Oh my god. The following book's last human and backwards went off script a bit as Rob Grant and Doug Naylor stopped co-writing at that point. What is your worst Red Dwarf villain? I can't think of any villains I disliked. I assume that's what you mean. Mechocracy, that was the name of the episode, thank you. Or no, Siliconia. See, I'm always getting those names confused. Yeah, it was Siliconia. Mechanoid Intergalactic Liberation Front, also known as MILF. Took me a minute to remember the name Siliconia. Yeah, it's been a while since I saw seasons 11 and 12, and I haven't seen them as much as the earlier ones, too. Siliconia was at least a 6 out of 10. Chris Berry's Crichton impression really lifted it for me. Yeah, that's always fun. They all kind of did Crichton in that one, which is kind of funny. I dare you to sing tongue-tied on a Red Dwarf vlog? Nah. Hi, Iggy Muncher. In the unmade movie, Earth was going to be a tourist attraction. That's interesting. Sort of sounds like the plot to WALL-E. Oh, yeah. What is the future is wild? I explained it a little earlier. It's sort of like Walking with Dinosaurs, where some scientists get together but they like theorize what animals could evolve into, how animals could evolve in the future, and they came up with all these weird creatures that are, scientifically possible. I thought it was really neat. It never really took off. It wasn't anything anyone talked about. But then again, like someone else mentioned, they did make an animated series based on it, so. One of my favorite Red Dwarf villains was Hoagie the Rogie. Oh yeah, I liked him. He was fun. What if the Red Dwarf crew took a human from the backwards universe on board Red Dwarf in the forward universe? You kills my brother. I challenge you to a duel across time and space. And then they settled on like a cooking competition. M Corp sequel, EA Corp. Yeah, I think I compared them to EA in that video I did. I love acronyms where the full name is badass, but the abbreviation is silly. I wrote one in a pilot script called Christians Rallying Against Propaganda, so crap. Cute. Red Dwarf barely kept the backwards universe straight to begin with, that's true. Mechocracy was the episode where they voted between Crichton and Rimmer. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, but poor cat going behind the bush, I know. Okay, let's go. I forgot what episode was coming up. Oh, Dimension Jump, here we go.
Welcome to another Rimmer episode, and another look into his effed up psyche. This one starts off with a flashback of Rimmer as a kid after his brothers have strung him upside down from his feet and written Bonehead on the back of his jacket. I love how his mom isn't in a hurry to get him down. Well, at least she's concerned enough to ask about it.
You've been playing with Howard and Frank? Yes. Well, what on earth were you playing?
That's about it, though. Anyway, it turns out that he hasn't been getting very good grades, and he may or may not get held back for a year. Fast forward to 20 years later, where Rimmer is a test pilot in the Space Corps. By the way, tell me this music doesn't sound a hell of a lot like Take My Breath Away from the Top Gun soundtrack. That has to be intentional. Though if they were going to do that, I'm surprised they didn't go with Danger Zone. He gets a round of applause as he enters, and everyone loves him and calls him Ace. So, alternate universe, obviously. There are also alternate versions of the rest of the crew as well. Lister is called Spanners here.
Got that crate to break the light barrier, I'll never know.
Well, some people might say it's that devilishly brave and handsome guy in the cockpit that did it.
Dish pshaw nonsense.
He still kind of talks like our Rimmer.
We've got this party thing they're throwing for you tonight, I suppose?
Good God, no.
However, he doesn't like adulation and prefers to hang out with the engineers.
See you there at 1900.
See you later, Ace. What a guy.
What a guy.
Get used to that phrase.
Oh, no, son.
Instead of cat, we have a priest, who isn't a cat. Not sure how that works. Anyway, he talks about how Ace has been looking after a sick kid and reading him stories and such.
Any old excuse to get out of dinner with the Admiral?
And Holly isn't a computer. Yeah, I'm not going to try to make sense out of this. Anyway, cue shameless flirting.
Because if you're interested, I'll be in my quarters, covered in maple syrup.
I'm sorry, Melly, I don't fraternize with the staff.
I resign.
I'll be there at 1300.
Nice to see Robert Llewellyn without makeup, again. It's actually the third time in 2 seasons. What's with the Wolverine hair, though? Anyway, they've created a drive that can allow someone to jump from one reality to another, and Ace immediately volunteers despite that there's no way of him getting back.
I'm free at 1500.
Anyway, it turns out that he'll be going to a different reality where there will be a different Arnold Rimmer.
You might find he's quite different to you.
Oh, yeah.
If you're interested,
And
I'll be in my quarters at lunchtime, covered in Tarama Salata.
more shameless flirting.
I'm sorry, Bongo. Lunch is on Melly.
Understood. What a guy.
And Ace is ready to launch.
Smoke me a kipper. I'll be back for breakfast.
Get used to that phrase, too. Meanwhile, back in our dimension, Crichton and Lister are trying to sneak out without waking Rimmer.
Lights, just nipping down the cinema, catch the midnight movie.
What, dressed like that?
Yeah, going to see Jaws.
It turns out that they were going to
We
go fishing
cringed
on an
after he
ocean
said
planet
that.
they'd passed a couple days ago and wanted to leave Rimmer behind.
For some reason, he's got this crazy, whacked out idea that we're all going on a fishing holiday.
A fishing holiday?
Good one, guys.
I tried to be like, God knows I tried. I regaled you with amusing stories of when I was treasurer of the Hammond Organ Owner Society.
That's the thing, Rimmer. Your interests are very different from theirs, and you don't bother to even notice that they don't care about things like Hammond organ music.
All right, then I'll come. I'll just get dressed. Holly?
Oh, who woke him up?
So now Rimmer is coming along, so they all take
How does that
Starbug
work?
back to the ocean planet.
Mind that planet!
Which planet?
That planet!
That's the planet we're heading to, sir.
You're also a backseat driver.
But you haven't correlated the data with the main computer banks, have you?
Yes, sir, I have, sir.
You know your trouble, Crichton.
What, sir?
You're a git.
Why haven't you got the guts just to tell the dude nobody likes him? Brilliant, what am I supposed to say? Excuse me, man. Do you know you're about as popular as a horny dog at a Miss Lovely Legs competition?
It wouldn't be anything he didn't already know.
How about some music? I brought my Hammond CDs with me.
Of course you did.
There's something slightly more melodious, like the long drawn-out death rattle of a man suffering from terminal flatulence.
Come on, you bores, let's do something. How about we all sing some campfire songs?
Seriously, Michael Scott is more self-aware than Rimmer. Thank God there's an emergency coming up.
Purple alert, purple alert.
It's a purple alert.
It's sort of like not as bad as a red alert, but a bit worse than a blue alert. I want to say Merle.
Holly, wipe the rabid foam from your chin and start again.
Anyway, there's a disruption to the time fabric continuum.
At least I presume that's what it is. It's certainly got all the signs.
Whatever you say, Holly.
There's this big wibbly wobbly swirly thing and it's heading straight towards us.
Insert predictable Doctor Who reference. Anyway, it's about to hit Starbug. and
Insert
they're able
predictable
to avoid
Doctor
it.
Who
So they
reference
get
is what I
ready for
said. Some people
impact.
mishear that.
Take your head between your legs and brace yourself.
Isn't all this kind of pointless if the chairs don't have seatbelts? But I love the gag about how the boring articles in the in-flight magazine act as a sedative.
Classic wines of Estonia. Flemish weaving the traditional way.
So Starbug collides with Ace's ship and is sent crashing into the ocean planet. Like I said, seatbelts probably would have been a good idea. So everyone is okay, except that Cat has a compound fracture in his leg.
See what I mean? You read my vapor cup. I look like a jerk. I'm bleeding an unfashionable color.
Leave it to Red Dwarf to play a mortal wound for laughs. So it turns out that Starbug's
Yeah,
starboard engine
timey-wimey
is
and
out,
all
and
that.
unless it gets fixed in 40 minutes, Starbug will sink. Plus, there's a nasty storm outside.
Anything we can do?
We could try and hire a dance band and get it to play a bide with me.
Ouch, Titanic reference. So Ace goes to check on Starbug, since he's the one who made it crash.
I caused the smash, should apologize. Only manners. The name's Commander Rimmer. Arnold Rimmer.
And meets the Red Dwarf crew.
But first of all, let's get you out of this pickle.
And of course he gets along with everyone.
What's your handle?
Lister. Dave Lister.
Of course it is. Put it there, Dave. You look a great bloke to be in a scrape with. Who's the completely delicious, stunningly gorgeous computer?
Holly.
And then our Rimmer shows up.
God, it's me. I'm much more handsome. Hold on, he'll have you out of here in no time.
He's a hologram. He can't touch anything.
Dead, eh? Well, commiserations, old man. What a crushing bore that must be.
You're me.
Ace explains that he and Rimmer came from the same timeline, which branched off into two because of a decision that was made. Hence the opening scene where Rimmer may or may not have been held back a year at school.
What's your plan, huh? I haven't got one.
In any case, I think Ace is expecting Rimmer to be a lot
Hi,
more
Flash.
like him. He thinks that the starboard engine can be repaired, but it's a two-man job. Of course, Lister volunteers.
Not so fast, Davy boy.
It was just about a volunteer, weren't you, one? No, I wasn't.
This is supposed to be a gag about Rimmer being a coward, but he is still a hologram who can't touch anything, so he couldn't have done much anyway.
What's the craft's inertia rating?
I don't know.
Well, what's the PSI?
I don't know.
There's no excuse for his lacking knowledge about the ship, though.
Sir, can I have a word in private?
Crichton pulls Ace aside and points out that he can tell he has a broken arm. Nice catch, by the way, go Crichton. So he insists that he go instead, even though he isn't waterproof. Kind of an odd flaw for a robot programmed to spend most of his time around cleaning solvents and such, but whatever.
I'll tell you what we'll do.
Anyway, Ace knocks Crichton out so he can't stop him from going.
Arnie, Crichton's taking a bit of a whack. I want you to reroute his circuitry and bring him back online.
Again, hologram.
You don't know how to do that?
Though I guess he could have had the Scudders do it, but they aren't that reliable, and Ace hasn't even been around long enough to know that they even have them.
Smoke me a kipper. Can you do that?
Still a hologram.
I'll be back for breakfast.
I hear you, Rimmer. In all seriousness,
Yeah, Ace is kind of a dick. I mean, sometimes.
I wonder if maybe as much of a Mary Sue as Ace is in all other respects. And yes, I say Mary Sue even if it's a guy. It's just a term, and it's not like I'm literally saying that's his name.
Screw gendered terms
one flaw
anyway.
Is that because of all of his accomplishments, he expects a lot of himself, and therefore he expects too much of an alternate version of himself that literally cannot do some of the things he can do. Either that or the writers just really screwed up and forgot that Rimmer is a hologram for this entire scene. Not like it'd be the first time. But it does bring up an interesting point. As I got into when I covered Me Squared, Rimmer hates himself, and anytime he is confronted with a double of himself, it always ends badly.
Shut up, you dead git! Stop it!
You know what? I just... There's a Scudder sticking its head up. Oh no, I see. It's in the foreground. I thought it was like sticking its head up through a hole or something.
So, it always ends badly.
Shut up, you dead git! Stop your foul whining, you filthy piece of descending rectum!
I'm going to use that clip every time I get the chance.
Yep.
Maybe even Ace isn't immune to that. Maybe despite all of his accomplishments, maybe deep down he still harbors those insecurities that our Rimmer still has, and they only came to the surface when being confronted with an alternate version of himself who was a failure and didn't overcome the obstacles that he did. I could be reading too much into things, but I thought it was an interesting idea. By the way, speaking of older episodes, this one references a couple of those. In Crichton, Rimmer tried to get Lister to call him by the nicknames he had in school, one of which was Ace.
What other one?
Ace.
Although according to Lister, the only nickname anyone actually called him was Bonehead.
Or what about the nickname I had at school?
What, Bonehead?
Which this episode confirms. Also again, in Me Squared, Rimmer says this about his double.
What a guy.
Which is the thing everyone says about Ace.
What a guy.
What a guy.
Anyway, back to this episode. I'm not going to have anything to say in the closing at this rate. Lister and Ace are repairing the starboard engine. Meanwhile, Kat's injury is still being played for laughs.
He's delirious.
Oh, rubber trousers held down with bicycle clips.
The show is weird.
Ace!
Meanwhile, Rimmer
Never
is
heard of
ranting about how
bicycle
much he can't
clips.
stand Ace.
I bet you anything he wears women's underwear.
I love that he's making gay jokes, not something I'd normally condone, but for someone as immature and mean-spirited as Rimmer, it works.
If I may just point out,
Yes, we did it!
But anyway, the engine has been repaired, and Lister and Ace have bonded like crazy.
You can say what you like about me, but I won't hear a word against Skipper here.
Ace and Skipper, you sound like a kid's TV series about a boy and his bush kangaroo.
He's not wrong.
Let's get this tea chest up into the stars and back to the Small Rouge one, eh?
So Ace was the one who
Small
coined the
Rouge
nickname
one.
the Small Rouge One. That's not surprising.
Yeah, the sooner we get back, the sooner you two can climb into a nice hot soapy bath and play Spot the Submarine.
Heh, looks like Rimmer hit a nerve there. Maybe Ace is a bit homophobic too. So Ace is now going to...
Not too long ago, I had a lot of people trying to argue with me in the comment section about he's not actually he's not homophobic. He just blah, blah, blah. I'm like, look, he got offended after someone made a gay joke about him. That makes him a homophobe. Doesn't mean he's a terrible person. Just means he has that one character flaw.
operate on Kat's leg.
Oh my god. Field microsurgery, all part of basic training in the Space Corps Special Service. I'll go scrub up.
I'll go and throw up.
So afterwards, Lister talks some more about how great Ace is, and
What a guy. I understand your attitude, Rimmer, is you.
Rimmer rants about how Ace is nothing like him because Ace got all the lucky breaks that Rimmer didn't.
I'm sorry, I want to look at something real quick. Look at those fucking boots.
Great Ace is, and
What a guy. I understand your attitude.
Come on.
Rimmer, is you.
Rimmer...
Look, oh man. Those boots are like so bright. I think they're metallic. Sorry, you don't get too much of a look at Rimmer's like boots and stuff, but usually they're always like colorful or otherwise look silly.
Rimmer rants about how Ace is nothing like him because Ace got all the lucky breaks that Rimmer didn't.
He probably got to go to some really great school while I was lumbered with I.O. House. He got to meet all the right people.
Lister brings up an interesting, if maybe a bit overly optimistic point, that Rimmer should be happy that there's an alternate version of him who is doing great.
How would you feel if some git arrived from another dimension? Another Lister, with wall-to-wall charisma and a PhD in being handsome and wonderful.
Hey man, I am that Lister. In Ace's dimension, he's a flight engineer in the Space Corps, married to Christine Kachansky.
So Kachansky exists in Ace's dimension and has the same name and everything, but Kat, Crichton, and Holly are all human? Anyway, yeah, Rimmer is bitter because Ace is living proof of how he could have turned out if he had gotten all of those lucky breaks.
Skipper, I've decided I'm not going to stay.
Afterwards, Ace tells Lister that he's not going to stick around because he knows he could never get
Sewing
along
up
with
his own
Rimmer.
wound.
So he's going to go out and try to find other Rimmers and see what they're like.
Maybe somewhere there's one who's more of a pain in the butt than him, but I doubt it.
Now look, don't be too hard on Rimmer. You got the break, he didn't, he's just bitter.
And it turns out that Ace was actually the one who was held back.
By his terms, he got the break. It changed me, made me buckle down, made me fight back. Maybe he's right. Maybe I did get the lucky break. Smoke me a kipper, Skipper. I'll be back for
He really
breakfast.
does toss
And
his
so
hair
Ace
like 8
takes off.
times.
Ready?
But not before Rimmer attempts to dump a net full of kippers on him. And fails. So it ends on some crawl text about how Ace visited countless realities but never found an Arnold Rimmer as sad and worthless as the one he'd met on Red Dwarf.
It's Wednesday night. It's amateur Hammond organ recital night. Okay, take it away, Scutters.
And we also get an alternate ending theme where apparently Rimmer got the Scutters to play the theme song on a Hammond organ. I guess they're the only ones willing to humor him. That is pretty sad. And so ends Dimension Jump.
Even though you don't see it, I love the mental image of the Scutters playing Hammond organs.
There is one thing about this episode that bugs me that I've alluded to a little, but let me just get it out of the way. How exactly does Rimmer being held back a year in school result in 3 non-human characters becoming human?
I don't remember if I've specifically mentioned, but I have since realized that it's just like only Rimmer and Lister are the same people. The rest are just different characters played by the same actors. But I thought it was weird that they didn't, take an all or nothing approach to that.
Okay, it could be that these aren't meant to actually be Kat, Holly, and Crichton. And they put those actors in those roles just for fun. But with Lister's doppelganger apparently being Lister, that makes it a bit confusing. I think ideally they should have went all or nothing with that. Just saying, it doesn't ruin the episode or anything, it's just kind of weird. That said, this is a really fun episode and a fan favorite. Ace Rimmer is a fun character and it's always interesting seeing alternate versions of these characters, and Chris Berry playing a very different role for a change. Of course, Rimmer is made out to be the bitter, petty asshole that he is, but I think some of his feelings are justified. Despite what Lister says, it would be weird to meet an alternate version of yourself who managed to accomplish everything you couldn't. Realistically, I think it would be hard to not dwell on what you could have done better. Of course, I suppose it could also inspire you to do better and try to be more like them, but they are years ahead of you, so you'd probably never reach that level, and that could dig at you a bit. Well, I guess that's all I have to say about Dimension Jump. Smoke me a kipper, I'll be back for Meltdown.
Landing jets, half the electric's out and the elastic snapped on the furry dice.
What does that mean in real terms?
Well, it means you got a more tasteful cockpit.
You got a more tasteful cockpit. Let's see what's coming up. Oh, Meltdown. Oh, God. That's an episode. Oh, my God. So much chat to go through. There we go. Apparently Family Guy did a backwards episode boasting that it could only be done in animation. Big deal, smegheads. I mean, Seinfeld sort of... Well, it wasn't backwards. They kind of it went back in time as the episode went on. Love the callback to his own nickname, yeah. Ace Rimmer is Bay. How many therapists would Rimmer need? Good question. I have a confession. I don't like Ace. There's dozens of us. Dozens. Like I said, Ace definitely can be an asshole sometimes. I wasn't aware that there were a lot of people that didn't like Ace, though. That's interesting. That's the same actress who played the polymorph form of Rimmer's mom. Oh yeah, I think that is her. I prefer Danger Zone, to be honest. It would have been interesting if they'd went with Danger Zone for some legally distinct Danger Zone for Ace. It really does sound like Top Gun. I think it's intentional, yeah. Take my breath away, no kind of atmosphere. I love how they occasionally give the cast alternative aliases to play with. Yeah, that's fun. Hi, Mantis Brawl. Would it make a difference if it was hummus? Scribble, scribble, scribble. And the awkwardness of that scene was so funny. Missed the last vlog, forgot to point out that human Crichton in DNA bore a strong resemblance to a member of Split Ends. I don't think I've heard of them. I think it's the last time you see Rob unmasked until season 8. I think you're probably right. I can't think of another instance between this and season 8. I'm drooling thinking about smoked kippers now. If Ace ever shows up again, I want him to be white-haired and grizzled like Han Solo in The Force Awakens. You know, that might work. I think I said when talking about the episode called Skipper, a lot of people thought, because of the name, a lot of people thought Ace Rimmer was going to show up in it. And I said in there that I don't know if Ace Rimmer would work with, like, I feel like Ace Rimmer as an older person seems a little, I don't know, I just don't feel like the character would necessarily work, but if you use Han Solo like a model, I could kind of see that. Ham and organ music. I love how this episode goes to great pains to show how loved Ace is and then cuts to our universe where we're instantly reminded of just how popular our Rimmer is. Yeah. Rimmer works best as a navigation officer, so it fits his personality. That's a good point. Like, especially later on in the series, he does a lot of that. Hayridge Hawley often got what felt like just one moment an episode, and she usually crushed it. Yeah. Hi, John Doe. The sad thing is Hammond organs can rock, i.e. smoke on the water. Good point. In the cast commentary, Craig Charles guiltily admits that he actually likes Hammond organ music. I remember reading the comments on this episode, and you got a lot of reactions to the Doctor Who reference. In fact, you had to leave a pinned comment. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think I did. I don't know. Maybe I said it too fast, but it's weird that, I don't know, whatever. Clearly it's not a Doctor Who reference because this came before that phrase. I think so, anyway. I mean, this didn't come before Doctor Who, but it came before the wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey line. Also, what was the big song from Top Gun Maverick? I think that'd be a good leitmotif for an older, more hardened Ace. I didn't see Top Gun Maverick. I've heard it was good. I never saw the original Top Gun, though, to be honest. It wasn't really my thing when I was a kid. Having flew at least once a month these last few years, I can vouch for that thing about the in-flight magazines being absolutely true. Stiff upper modem. Holly's reaction to Ace is priceless. Yeah, that was great. Berlin, Take My Breath Away is the song you're looking for. Yeah, that's what I said. I think I said it was Take My Breath Away. I just didn't mention the band. Ace is definitely my role model, 100%. Trouser leg of time theory? Red Dwarf could have Lister with a huge hole in his chest and they would make jokes about it being used as a storage space for food. Yeah. Excuse me. You're totally right that Ace expects too much of a soft light hologram. Yeah. He is still Rimmer. Yeah, exactly. In the book backwards, Ace actually expects Rimmer to be able to operate machinery by bouncing his light bee on the controls, and even Rimmer kicks himself for not realizing that. Excuse me. Here comes the heartburn. It's gotta get really bad at least once per stream. Damn, excuse me. It'll pass in a second. They expand on this in the books. The closer to the events of Rimmer Prime you travel, the bumpier the ride. So Ace has to travel to a vastly different version of himself to survive the journey. Interesting. Also, the modern use of Mary Sue is just a fancy way of decrying a woman for being a witch and was coined by sex offender. I don't know about that, but I mean, yeah, it has unfortunately been it's kind of lost all meaning at this point. I probably wouldn't even use it now. But I mean, originally it was meant to be a bad fan fiction character. Someone who is like very good at everything and everyone loves them, etc. Gender is a lot like time. It can be bent and messed with. I like that. Rimmer's season 2 screaming cannot be topped. Yeah. In Evangelion fandom, our Mary Sue is literally called Mary. That's funny. I use filthy piece of distended rectum as an insult to this date. It's probably the best insult ever made. Oh, I wondered why you kept posting hearts. I see why now, rather. Rimmer being nice, it would be easier to solve a 1,000-pound Rubik's Cube in 9 seconds. I mean, if you think about it, what could be more un-Rimmer-like and more galling to Rimmer than Ace actually liking Lister and getting along with him? Yeah. Bicycle clips are something cyclists put on their pants to avoid getting them caught in the bike. Oh, yeah, I think I probably did look into that at some point. I just forgot. I never heard the term before. But just going by the name, that sounds like what it would be. I remember when Diamanda did this episode, she posted a pic of Ace on Gaston, and it was only sometime after it that I remembered that in the song Gaston actually has the line, "My, what a guy, Gaston." That's funny. He is a little bit like Gaston, isn't he? I wouldn't think that Ace would be anywhere near as bad. Just I can see the comparison. I think Rimmer's boots have spats. I don't think it's literal spats. I think just the design kind of mimics that. But yeah, it is that kind of look. I love how many looks Rimmer gets. I'm always confused in Inquisitor when he wears green for a lot of that episode, even though he's mainly red that season. Yeah, that was a weird choice. I complained about that in the vlog I did. Smoke me a kipper, I'll be back in a few series. This episode is deep. I often think about what would be different if I did something change. Hologram clothing is kind of cool. Yeah, I like what they were doing with Rimmer at this point. The ending was supposed to be a freeze frame of Rimmer's face as the kippers come down on him, but it looked crap, so they used the one with the Hammond organ. I think I remember that, actually. I didn't remember it looking bad, but I do remember that it was an alternate ending. I once had an idea of an episode of Voyager ending like this, with that establishing shot of the center of Borg space and the Borg Queen using Rimmer's line, "Take it away, drones." And then they play the Voyager theme. I think Ace's voice was based in part on Sean Connery. Oh, yeah, I could totally imagine that. I can totally see that. Holly had to be based on an actual person, so probably exist in that universe, as Crichton and Holly are based on humans. Yeah, could be. Or to give it the full title, "Oh God, not Meltdown," was "So what else is on?" I don't think Meltdown is bad. It's just kind of dark. That's why I reacted that way. Someone doesn't like Meltdown, I guess. Massey's watching me. Hi, Massey. I like that in the parallel universe, Lister and Rimmer are at their best. One of my favorite gags from the novels is Holly explaining there's 7 parallel universes and their default universe is the bad one. Interesting. I think I said before, but the novel backwards did confirm that Spanners is Lister. It even explains it. Without Rimmer, Lister had a bunkmate who encouraged him. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense that Spanners would just be a nickname. And, of course, you know, Rimmer says he's married to Kachansky, so... I mean, Lister. Did I say Rimmer? I meant to say Lister. I get their names confused sometimes. They sound a little similar if you think about it. It's probably cheaper to just use Robert, Danny, and Hattie instead of getting new actors for just a few minutes of screen time. Yeah, that's a good point. The episode is only good for that. They were going to sort that out in the dub smeg up. I disagree. I think it's a good episode. If I recall correctly, Chris Berry said in an interview at a convention once that they riffed on Take My Breath Away because they wanted something more James Bondy. Oh, New Zealand New Wave band. Neil Finn was in it before Crowded House. I don't know who that is, but okay. I figured it was a band, but I'd never heard of them. Gotta say, the special effects for having Chris Berry as Rimmer and Ace in the same scenes are really impressive considering when this was made. That's a good point. Meltdown is probably my favorite episode of season 4. I don't know that it's my favorite, but I do think it's a good one. I love Meltdown. Rimmer at his maddest and Mark Clayton as Elvis was absolute gold. Yeah, he was a good Elvis. I like that he showed up again in the tongue-tied video. I'm not really a Tom Cruise fan. Yeah. I mean, I think he's a good actor and he's good looking, so I like him on that level, but he's a garbage person, unfortunately. He literally runs a cult, so... Not too excited to watch any new movies with him in it. I'll still watch him in, like, Interview with a Vampire, though. Maybe other older things. I think that novel had Lister bunking up with Todd Hunter, who also joined the Space Corps as a technician and is living the career Rimmer desired. Figures. Whenever I was on a plane and saw an in-flight magazine, I always automatically thought, Salt, an Epicure's delight. Trouser Leg of Time is a Discworld reference. Ah. That was without a doubt the mother of all hiccups. That happens whenever I have really bad heartburn. I get these really intense. I'll get this really intense, like a single hiccup that's like really intense, or maybe two, and then it goes away. I wonder what Ace would think about Rimmerworld. He'd probably be very embarrassed. We need a replacement term for Mary Sue. The old term is overused. Yeah, I agree. I mean, these videos are a few years old. It wasn't... I mean, it was still kind of badly used sometimes, but not to the extent that it is now, I think. Yes, I know that the term for a male Mary Sue is Gary Sue. Again, it doesn't need to be gendered. It's just a term. If nothing else, we need a new term so people would stop fucking nitpicking that. There's a Sim in The Sims 2 who's named Mary Sue. Ironically, she's anything but perfect. That's cute. I think that Ace is a little bit like Gaston, but Gaston is probably better at expectorating. And a little less backstabby. Backstabby, yeah. Stab him, quick stab him. Hi, Cinematic Sith. I like your name. Look up the song Don't Dream It's Over by Crowded House. It's a good song. That sounds vaguely familiar. Here, let me go ahead, just so I can remember. Just so I'll remember later. There. I started a Google search, so hopefully I'll see that later. And it's possible I've heard them and just didn't know what band it was. This was the same season that got Kat to high-five himself, also a technical coup for the time. Yeah, I always thought that looked really good. I guess, like, the hands aren't really hitting. It's just, like, they just line them up really well. I don't know how they did it, though. I mean, I guess I know how they did it, like I said. They probably did it that way, but it still looked really good. Trigger warning, Clayton Mark is now in prison for sex offense. Oof, okay. Maybe Meltdown isn't that bad a story, but it's one of the cheapest looking episodes with all the historical cosplayers running through a field in Manchester. I don't know why that sounds funny to me. Interview with the Vampire is the only movie I like Tom Cruise in. He was a really good Lestat. I mean, he was probably just kind of playing himself, really, but I'm pretty good at separating art from the artist, so I can still enjoy these problematic things. I mean, for me, it depends. Peggy Sue. Yeah, let's, instead of Mary Sue, let's start calling it Peggy Sue. What is a Mary Sue? It started off being a term used for, like, self-insert characters in fan fiction. Like, the original one, the name came from an old Star Trek fan fiction someone wrote, where they had this character that was a parody of a lot of other characters that were in fan fiction at the time, and she was named Mary Sue. And that's where the term comes from. It's also supposed to mean a character who is just, like, way, completely flawless and everybody loves them and they're just absolutely perfect. So yeah, unfortunately it's sort of like, evolved into a term for, like, woman I don't like in media. So yeah, the term's been kind of bastardized, unfortunately. We don't question Dina on Dina responses. Yeah, it's not the same as Peggy Sue. Although, like I said, it'd be funny if we just started calling it that. Oh yeah, Dark City. I've seen that before. Not in a long time, though. Peggy Sue is a Mary Sue from the 1950s. Oh, Flash described it. Mary Sue is a character who is boringly perfect and flawless and therefore unlikable. It can be a genuine complaint, but the internet has turned it into code for I don't like this character. Yeah. Or more likely, turned it into code for I don't want to see a strong woman in a movie. If there's only 7 multiple universes, where did all the Rimmer's light bees come from in the planet ring? F.E. Engage? I'm not sure what that is. Is Peggy Sue the name of a trope? I don't remember that one. I suppose it's a reason why some people don't like Titus in Final Fantasy X. Was he kind of a Mary Sue type character? I don't remember that. Look up Einstein. Oh, sorry. Ensign Sue Must Die. It's a great Star Trek webcomic lampooning the concept. I'll keep that in mind. The main character in My Immortal is a good or bad example of an original variety Mary Sue. Yeah. Definitely. She's either like the ultimate Mary Sue or she's a parody of Mary Sue's, depending on what you think. Whether you think that story's legit or not. Whether or not you think it was written as a joke or not, I should say. I was very scared of the cheesy monsters when I saw Meltdown as a kid. There are monsters in Meltdown? I don't remember. I don't think about the gender. I like characters that are fun or interesting. Yeah, that's good. I've only seen Spoonie's videos, but I know Titus is annoying as fuck. I didn't think he was. I like Titus. I thought it was kind of nice that we had a character that wasn't a freaking moody emo all the time. Peggy Sue involves time travel, apparently. Spoonie was the first person I thought of when I posted that. Okay, I have to go to the bathroom really quick, so I'm going to do that. So I'll be right back. Okay. Hi, Shamrock Particle. I wanted to see Winnie on screen and melt down. What about Forky from Toy Story 4? As in, is he a Mary Sue? I don't see how. It's impossible to tell if my immortal is crack, a troll fic, or a genuine attempt to write a fanfic. Yeah, there's a YouTuber named Strange Eons who has done a couple of videos about it, and it's. I think she's convinced that it was genuine because the person that wrote that story really sounded like a legit, angsty teenager. So, but who knows? Is there an inverse of Mary Sue, a villain or comedy character who's always wrong to the extreme and has no redeeming features? Good question. If there is, I don't think there's a term for it. In other words, it was nice that we didn't have a character who wasn't Squall or Emo Git. If you're Spoonie, Emo Git. I forgot that he named Squall that. Yeah, he was like the anti-Squall, and I kind of appreciated that. That character, I just forgot his name, but yeah, you know who I'm talking about. I thought Forky was funny. He's the best friend I've had in, whoa, fuck, it scrolled up, all 2 days of it. Speaking of Winnie the Pooh, I was shown an old Soviet version of the cartoon the other day. At one point, Piglet wields a shotgun. Whoa. YN is the other fanfic character who gets lambasted as their whole shtick is constantly being all woe is me and overreacting to any perceived slight. Now I have an image of Piglet boomsticking Christopher Robin in the head. Winnie the Pooh is hardcore in Red Dwarf canon. Yeah, I love that bit. I actually think of this. I think of this episode in the South Park episode called "Banned in China," where Randy goes to China and like Winnie the Pooh is there. It's a long story. There's a whole Disney thing. Anyway, at one point he strangles Winnie the Pooh to death, and it's this horrific scene. I'm sure it's based on something. Like South Park does that sometimes. They'll do these little shot-for-shot parodies, and it's really horrific. And it kind of I always flash back to Lister saying that's something that no one should ever have to see. In a land where magic is real and that people can summon gods, I don't think I would be moody in Final Fantasy. Yeah. At any rate, TV Tropes had to lock My Immortals page to admin only as it kept getting vandalized. That's funny. I love Strange Aeons. Yeah, she's fun. I can't remember how I discovered her, but she's always talking about like Tumblr and just other her mall goth video. That was fun too. Always the risk with satire that the target will miss the point and embrace the character unironically. Walter White, Al Bundy, Eric Cartman, etc., on forever. Yeah. Sarah Z also did a long video about My Immortal. Things get very weird when she goes down the rabbit hole with multiple people claiming to be the writer. Yeah, Strange Aeons did a similar video. I don't think I've seen the Sarah Z one. Maybe I'll try to look that up later. My Immortal is one of those things it's really fun to hear people dig into. Or for that matter, the character will miss the creator will miss the mark. Yeah. He named Ifrit Fire Pubes. That's funny. Hate sinks, I guess. Oh yeah, that would be kind of a anti-Mary Sue, I guess. They're supposed to be completely unlikable with no redeeming qualities. Piglet with a shotgun. People's problems with female Mary Sues is that they are flawless and always succeeds for no reason. The male version of Mary Sue is also disliked, but usually is flawed and makes mistakes. I mean, I guess that's true as far as that's what people complain about, but I think a lot of times it's just kind of thinly veiled misogyny. I know Meg Griffin and Butters from South Park are like the inverse of Mary Sue's. I guess I love Butters, though. I think Butters might be my favorite South Park character now. If Ace is a Mary Sue, he is still flawed and makes mistakes he has to get over. I guess. I do think he's intended to be kind of Mary Sue-ish, though. Speaking of horrific, have you ever seen Bring Me the Head of Charlie Brown, Dark but Funny? I have not seen that. He's refusing the blindfold is a line that gets me. That's great. That's something that no one should ever have to see after you read Cupcakes. Oh God, yeah. For me it was Cheerly's Garden. That was the fanfic that broke me a little. Who doesn't love Butters? Or you're saying Butter. I thought that was a typo, but you're trying to be funny. Anti-Sues, for lack of a better term, often feel like straw men for the author's political boogeyman. I can believe that. In that they're likable characters who get too much crap from the other characters. Oh, okay, that's totally fair about Butters. Everybody, all the characters hate him. I think he's adorable most of the time. He does pick up things from Cartman, unfortunately, sometimes, but I wouldn't be surprised if it comes to light that My Immortal was written by an AI. I could totally believe that, actually. Ace is intentionally perfect to take the mick out of Mary Sue's. Yeah. Oh, hi, Reba. I'm not a fan of My Little Pony dark fiction. If you like them, it's fine, but don't let little kids read that stuff. Well, yeah, of course. That would be a butt monkey. Ah, yeah. The inverse of My Immortal is Half-Life Full Life Consequences, which spawned some amazing dramatic readings and Gmod videos. I have to kill fast and bullets too slow. I think I heard that Full Life Consequences wasn't legit, though, for what it's worth. Seriously, why haven't Butter's parents gotten their comeuppance for their abuse of him? Well, I've noticed, you're right, that they never really got their comeuppance, but they did get toned way down. Now they're just kind of jerkish, and they ground him all the time, but they don't like outright physically abuse him anymore. Okay, Reba, thanks for stopping by. Okay, let's get back to this. Meltdown. It's the season 4 finale.
To the south lay water. There was no way we could cross that.
So, we open with Rimmer telling an impassioned story about how he conquered an enemy using strategy.
I picked up the dice and threw 2 6s.
Which turns out to be about a game of Risk he played during his days in cadet school when he was 17.
I jotted it down in my Risk campaign book.
To be fair, it wouldn't surprise me if some D&D players did the same thing. Continuing the theme of Rimmer completely lacking in self-awareness.
I want to say that some people in the comments confirmed that, but I might be remembering wrong.
From the last episode, he's apparently oblivious to how little everyone else
Obtruse
cares.
Can't you tell the story is not gripping me? I am in a state of non-grippedness. I am completely smegging, ungripped. Shoot the smeg up.
That's a great speech to repeat whenever someone insists on talking your ear off about something you don't care about. But hey, now he's about to get to the really interesting bit.
Hey, Rimmer, what did you do with the dice?
I threw a 5 and a 2.
Best face award. By the way, I should have given one to Lister in the last episode. But this fascinating story is interrupted by Crichton playing with some kind of transporting device.
Essentially, it's a matter transporter. I found it in the research labs down on Z-Deck.
So Crichton transports himself and Lister to Starbug and tells the rest to meet him there, eventually. So this device can instantly transport someone to a
Rimmer's got nothing on Warhammer players.
Starbug millions of years to reach. That's one hell of a device.
But the most interesting prospect appears to be 200,000 light years away.
It should be safe, but Crichton suggests that he and Rimmer go ahead.
As a scout arcade.
Funniest accent award goes to Crichton, by the way. I'm surprised I've gone this long without mentioning it. I guess because it started out sounding mainly American, and then it gradually morphs into this weird American-Canadian-British hybrid. I think it was supposed to be an American accent, but I don't know if Robert Llewellyn is even necessarily going for that anymore.
What?
Of course, Rimmer doesn't want to go, his excuse being that as a hologram he can't touch anything.
Well, of course, you do have a small physical presence.
Precisely.
Wow, Kat's mind just went straight to the gutter. So this is where the light bee technology is revealed. A light bee is a small object that floats around and projects
this was the first mention of the light bee.
Rimmer's personality and memories and such are stored inside. It's kind of inconsistent with some of the earlier episodes, like how in Thanks for the Memory he couldn't leave Starbug without a holographic projection cage. One theory I've heard a couple times is that Crichton brought the light bee technology with him from the Nova 5, and that works for me.
Yeah.
I think it about lines up. And if it doesn't, whatever, rule of funny. Of course, the first thing Lister does is mess with it.
Anyone fancy a game of squash?
Sir!
Anyway, Crichton transports himself and Rimmer to the planet, and noticing that the atmosphere is breathable, he returns the device. Only to discover that there are cheesy-looking monsters.
Oh, yeah, okay, somebody mentioned
monsters. This is actually
monsters.
footage from an old Japanese Godzilla-like movie called Gappa the Triphibian Monster. Meanwhile, Lister and Kat get the device and transport themselves to the planet also.
Yeah, I entirely forgot about that part. Somebody mentioned monsters in Meltdown. I was like, monsters? What? Yeah, I forgot about this bit.
Where they interrupt Hitler in a meeting. But they manage to teleport away to the
If you think about it, Hitler's been on this show a lot. Like, I can think of 3 instances off the top of my head. There might be more that I'm just not remembering.
They do manage to get away when they teleport again.
Where are we? I don't know. Stone.
By the way, there's an adorable blooper for this bit.
Stone. They were going to sort that out in the dub.
Anyway, it turns out that they're in the fireplace.
Well, the short one with the stupid tash was Hitler, and the jerky one, the child molester glasses, was Goebbels. Suppose the fat bastard must have been Goering.
I love how they're all just standing around like, really?
Hands up, big dogs!
But not for long. Meanwhile, Crichton and Rimmer are captured by
Reach for the sky, boys. Thank you very much.
Elvis.
Okay, now get moving. Thank you very much.
Which way?
That way.
So now Lister and Cat are in a cell.
I love that, Elvis. You just take us outside and execute us.
You're just saying that to make me feel better.
Hey, I'd take execution over torture.
Crichton never said anything about the paddle taking us back in time.
But there's commotion outside, and Lister looks out the window to see an execution taking place. It turns out that they haven't gone back in time. That was a very dark thing I just said nonchalantly. Hey, I'd take execution over torture. Okay, Dina. After all, because he's seeing figures from various periods in history, like Al Capone, Mussolini, and Napoleon.
Smack, it's like all the worst people in history have been brought together in one place.
So who are they executing?
It's Winnie the Pooh. He's refusing the blindfold.
That's right, Pooh Bear. Stick it to the man.
They're tying Winnie the Pooh to the stake?
That's something no one should ever have to see.
I felt that way after reading Cheerilee's Garden.
Ha! I didn't remember that I said that.
Anyway, Abraham Lincoln is thrown into the cell with them. Meanwhile, cut to another room containing Marilyn Monroe, Stanley Laurel of Laurel and Hardy. Not sure why you'd have one without the other, but whatever. Along with Pythagoras and Einstein.
The solution to everything is triangles. There are problems in life that can't be solved with triangles.
I love Einstein, by the way. Anyway, this is where Crichton and Rimmer were being taken.
Anybody got a burger? Haven't eaten in 5 minutes.
Get it? Because Elvis was fat.
Who are these people? They're not wax droids.
Okay, so we finally get an explanation of where they are and why everyone looks like a historical figure or a celebrity. It's basically an entire planet that is a glorified wax museum, except that they're wax droids who have broken their programming, similar to how Crichton has been doing, and the heroes and villains have been fighting a war. All of the warrior-type heroes have been killed in battle, leaving only celebrities and intellectuals, none of whom know how to fight.
Who do the enemy have?
The cream of evil. Hitler, Napoleon, the Boston Strangler, dozens of...
So they're basically sitting ducks.
I was born for this moment.
I'm not sure I'm following you, sir.
So Rimmer has decided to take on the role of leader for them since it's been his lifelong dream to lead an army into battle.
I'm going to turn you into the meanest, fittest fighting machine that ever graced a battlefield.
Meanwhile, Abe Lincoln is telling the same story to Lister and Cat, adding that the bad guys want to capture the good guys and reprogram them to be evil. But then someone else enters the cell. Oh my god, it's Caligula.
He slept with his mother, both his sisters, and ended up eating his son.
Brad Jones's ears are burning right now and he doesn't know why.
Do you not sink to your knees and bow in the presence of the Emperor Caligula?
Fun fact, the real Caligula would never have called himself that. It was an embarrassing childhood nickname that he hated. Other than that, he seems pretty accurate though.
Rasputin, bring in the bucket of soapy frogs and remove his trousers.
If a bit more PG rated.
Bring hither the skin diving suit with the bottom cut out, and unleash the rampant wildebeest.
Anyway, he wants to know how the transporting device works, so Lister tricks him into teleporting himself and Rasputin so they can get away.
If we make good time, we'll be back at HQ by sunset!
I don't know what's up with this transition. I don't recall seeing it in any other episode. Anyway, Rimmer is getting himself psyched up for battle, and Crichton is doubting his sanity.
Well, thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
As you were, Sergeant Presley.
Kudos on remembering that Elvis has a last name, though.
Crichton, let's see what we've got, eh?
Oh, here we go with the Full Metal Jacket parody. You'll never outdrill Sergeant Arlie Ermy.
Wipe that stupid-looking grin off your face, or I will gouge out your eyeballs and skull fuck you!
Sorry, I didn't know where else I'd be able to use that clip. The Rimmer tearing down Gandhi is pretty funny.
Don't eyeball me, Gandhi. Get on the floor and give me 50.
No! Francis of Assisi?
There's only two kinds from Assisi. Steers and queers. Which are you, boy?
He even does the steers and queers bit.
Holy dog shit! Texas only steers and queers come from Texas, Private Cowboy. And you don't much look like a steer to me, so that kind of narrows it down.
Also, I changed my mind. Best face.
Someone is going to have to turn you into soldiers. And that someone, ladies and gentlemen, is me!
Yeah, Rimmer is clearly unhinged at this point.
I'm watching you, Gandhi.
I'm watching you, Gandhi.
Here's something you won't see anywhere else.
Perhaps I've been a bit too tough. But it's for their own good.
You're killing them for their own good?
Pretty much, yeah.
Now, this is the plan.
So now Lister and Cat have finally joined Rimmer and Crichton.
Of course, Lister has an ethical issue with what Rimmer is doing.
Rimmer, you're taking a group of holy men and pacifists and turning them into the dirty dozen.
Couldn't have done it without Crichton here.
Oh, I'm sorry, sirs. I had no choice. I'm programmed to obey, no matter how psychotic and deranged the human order.
Once again, that's kind of disturbing.
They've broken the program and they're capable of independent thought. That makes them alive. Makes them practically people.
Rimmer has definitely lost it now because he orders that Lister and the cat be tied up.
If they resist, shoot them.
Crichton mentions that he thinks this might have started when Lister chewed on Rimmer's light bee, that it might have caused malfunction. The battle starts, and of course most of them get blown up right out of the gate. Played for laughs because Red Dwarf. Meanwhile, Crichton
Santa.
sneaks Mother Teresa into the Third Reich building where she gets them from behind with a machine gun and then gets shot by Hitler. There's a sentence I never thought I'd say. Anyway, Crichton's orders after that.
Yeah,
are
I
to
know
turn
that
up
was
the
Queen
thermostat.
Elizabeth.
Rejoice, we conquer. Victory on Waxworld.
So, of course, that melted all of the droids, and Rimmer has basically committed genocide.
The deranged menace that once threatened this world is vanquished.
No, it isn't, pal. You're still here. See you, Rimmer.
In return, Lister swallows his light bee.
He'll come out in a couple of days.
You know that's what started all this in the first place, right, Lister?
Does anyone fancy a Vindaloo?
And once again, we get an alternate theme at the end. This time it's sung by Elvis. And so ends Meltdown.
I literally just said that. I know it's Queen Victoria. I just
There are quite a
fucked
few
up when I made
layers
the
to this
video.
episode that make it disturbing. Not only do we have a planet full of droids who have broken their programming, something we've seen Crichton try to do throughout the series.
Oh,
They're
I see what
basically
you
just
mean.
like
Never mind.
Crichton.
Yeah, you're right. I'm
Meanwhile,
wrong.
Rimmer has them killed and has
Victoria,
Crichton help him
yeah.
do it. And Crichton, while
It was
having
Queen
broken
Victoria,
his own
yeah.
programming enough to know that it's wrong, still hasn't broken it enough to be able to say no to Rimmer. So basically, he was forced against his will to commit genocide on what is practically his own people. That is really messed up. And in typical Red Dwarf fashion, it's played mostly for laughs, with all of them being caricatures of
shot.
historical figures and celebrities. It's weird how this show can mix comedy with fridge horror in a way that's almost uncomfortable, but not so much that it's unwatchable or anything. That said, everyone did a great job as far as I could tell. Elvis and Einstein were great, and I also love Stanley Laurel, despite it taking me a second to figure out who he was when I first saw this, because I literally didn't recognize Laurel without Hardy. Caligula was also great. By the way, he was played by Tony Hawks, who has made a few other appearances on the show. Namely, he was the original voice of Talkie Toaster, and
I forgot
he was
about
the
that.
announcer in Backwards. He was also the guy who warmed up the audience before every show. This was his last appearance. Well, I guess that's all I have to say about Meltdown. It's a weird mixed bag of hilarious and disturbing, and I honestly like episodes like that. Well, this marks the end of Season 4, and next up will be Hollow Ship. See you then.
We'll listen to the Elvis version of the song.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Hey, if you mean torture, then say the word torture. I can take it.
Okay, they may torture us.
Hey, torture us!
There we go. Oh, Hollow Ship, right. Okay. We got caught up on the chat really quick. I guess I'll probably end after this one. Oh my god, is it really that far, or did I forget to... Oh, nope. I went back too far. I try to highlight the last comment I read, so all I have to do is scroll until I see the highlight, but I guess I didn't this time. Butter still deserves better, yeah. I like that episode where he told off his grandma. I think it was called Butterballs. Awful seeing his grandmother abuse him, but the way he told her off at the end was great. Yeah, a guy came out on the Something Awful forums a year or two later and admitted to being Squirrel King, the writer of Full Life Consequences. Yeah, I was pretty sure I remembered something like that. I'm not a fan of South Park, but even I want to send Butter's parents into the sun. Yeah, they were pretty awful in the beginning. Rimmer's got nothing on Warhammer players. That's so funny. I never got into that kind of stuff, so I wouldn't know, but I've heard things. Playing the D&D Beyond app means you have a record of dice rolls by default. That's funny. I think Crichton's accent started out as fake Swedish. I don't see how it was Swedish before it evolved into a bad Vancouver accent. That I could see. Excuse me. If it can transport you up to 2,000 light years, it should be able to take them back to Earth. Yeah, good point. Debut of the Light Bee. By this point, Rimmer's being unable to touch stuff was starting to be a bit of a bother for the writers rather than a crucial plot point. Yeah. Was that ever featured on MST3K? Oh, the Godzilla-like movie? I don't know. Hitler versus Marilyn Monroe, who shows up on Red Dwarf more? Good point. I think they might be about equal. I think they've both been on there 3 times. Wait, is it 3 times for Marilyn Monroe? Maybe only twice for her, actually. They were gonna sort that out in the tube. That's such a great bit. I've seen more convincing dinosaurs given away free with a packet of Wheatie Flakes. Yeah, Hitler has as many guest appearances as Ace Rimmer does and might match Peterson. It has a new sea theme to it, yes. On my first watch of this, my friends and I were binging my mom's VHS tapes for Series 4 at the Winnie the Pooh reveal. We fell out of our chairs laughing. We were 9 at the time. Also in the tournament, references to Yvonne Magruder pity sexing Rimmer or Gearing being a cross-dresser. Verses, rather. What's the point of heavy stuff if you can't make light of them true? I like to think that Eeyore was one of the firing squad. Is it wrong for me to laugh at the Winnie Pooh bit? I mean, I'm pretty sure just about everybody does. I think Linkard did a comic where they stereotyped Elvis with "wanna get a cheeseburger." Oh yeah, everybody makes that same joke about. I mean, it's the same joke everybody makes about Elvis. He was fat, her. He ate, deep fried this and that, and it's like, yeah, so everybody's made that joke. They got a lot of good actors for a BBC budget on this episode. That's true. They were all good. A dictionary sketch from Blackadder? I don't think I remember that one. Guy playing Caligula did a funny Beastie Boys parody called Stutter Rap. That's cute. Don't eyeball me, Gandhi. Rasputin, I'm very cross indeed. Delighted to meet you, dear boy. Shut up. Too bad it's Lister's fault Rimmer acted like this. Yeah. Yeah, to be clear about Queen Victoria, it's just because I'm streaming and I said it really fast. I do know that that was Queen Victoria. I just blurted out Queen Elizabeth. I was trying to say it really fast. Anyone remember Clay Fighter? Oh, I vaguely do. Featuring an Elvis character who attacks with his quiff. Oh, like his hair. Throws musical notes at his opponents. Now that I didn't remember, but I do remember that there was an Elvis-looking a character that was sort of an Elvis parody. Caricature, whatever. Laurel without Hardy is a clever detail. I mean, I guess it's kind of unexpected. You'd expect to see, both of them. Yeah, I remember Tony Hawk's talking about how he used to be referred to as the fifth dwarfy. Yeah, I think I remember that from the making of thingy. Caligula once attempted to declare war on Poseidon. I can believe it. That guy was a nut job. So Crichton's problem is tied to his guilt chip being up way too high, probably on purpose to keep him in line. Yeah, it's possible. Love the Elvis version of the theme, yeah. I didn't just get here. I've been here since a little bit before 2. Hollow Ship is such a great Rimmer episode. Yeah, it is. Oh, I'm going to be running late now. Oh well, whatever. I'll still play one more because I said I would. I love the way Hollow Ship bookends with Rimmer pulling the same sneer. Yeah. Oh my god, there's so much. His way of doing that was ordering his troops to sea and telling them to gather seashells. Series 5 was only my favorite. Always my favorite. It's a good one. I still think I like Series 6 a little bit better, but Series 5 is really good. Excuse me. There's an Elvis impersonator who sings the songs in Latin. That's interesting. Oh, does Marilyn Monroe bot from the last day not count? Yeah, I think I was counting that one before, and then I corrected myself, but I don't know. I guess it could. I think counting the poster on Lister's locker is pushing it. Life lessons for everyone. Don't trust Winnie the Pooh. Even the Better Than Life novel has Elvis's first line, "Be you gonna eat that?" to Rimmer. Of course it is. The other most common Elvis joke is how the king died on the throne. Yeah. I do wonder what happened to Monroebot. I think last time someone theorized that she might still be wandering around on the ship since it's so big. R.I.P. Lisa Marie Presley. Yeah, that's true. I forgot. She did die recently. That's a bummer. Blackadder did a sketch of the guy who invented the dictionary, and Blackadder trolls him by saying a bunch of long made-up words he's never heard before. Ah. I finally got a new bottle of Chloraseptic, so I don't have to chug it anymore. Then they lose the thing and replace it with a dictionary of naughty words, justifying it by saying that these are the words people are looking up anyway. That's a good point. I think the reason Stan appears without Ollie is because, like Winnie the Pooh and Lincoln, he had been captured by the other droids. Oh, I know. I mean, I would have assumed that, because I said that like most of them had died, so... By the way, I recently got a comment on my Meltdown video saying they're just robots. And I'm like, do you even watch this show? What a weird comment to leave on an episode that's obviously meant to be, you know, morally ambiguous about that. It's rumored smoke me at... What? Smoke me a camp or I'll be back in the morning? What? I don't get it. Also, hi, Sean, even if your first comment confused me. If you must go, you must go, yeah. Marilyn Monroe and the second polymorph got into a death match in the cargo hold. Someone was clearly siding with Rimmer. Right? That's pretty bad. I've never heard of these Elvis jokes before. I always just see people doing an impression of his voice or taking the mick out of his dancing. Oh yeah, I mean, maybe not so much anymore. Maybe it was like a thing that was mostly they were doing in the 80s, but oh yeah. Is Data just a robot, right? Layers. Thanks for stopping by, Julia. Watches TNG, The Measure of a Man, Blade Runner, and Westworld. They're just robots, right? Exactly. That's missing the entire point of the episode. I can't remember. I feel like I left that comment up. And I think I probably responded, but I can't remember what I said. I may be remembering wrong, though. Maybe I just ignored it. Okay, last one. Welcome to Season 5. We open on the crew watching what sounds like a...
Oh, my darling, you're wrong.
Disgustingly sappy love story.
Wasn't that just beautiful? Oh, well recommended, sir.
If you say so.
I thought it was the worst pile of blubbery schoolgirl mush I've ever been compelled to endure.
I gotta side with Rimmer on this one.
It was totally unbelievable.
Okay, in all seriousness, the movie was about a man giving up everything for a woman, but in the end, they didn't get to be together. The point is that Crichton and Lister think that it's a beautifully tragic story, but Rimmer doesn't buy that anyone would give up everything for someone else.
Not realistic.
As if.
Personally, I thought it started well but fell apart.
Kat loved the cartoon in the beginning, but fell asleep after that. Notice that even Holly is a bit weepy.
There isn't a man in the universe who wouldn't have taken the job and to hell with a woman. Total baloney.
Yeah, remember this conversation. It'll be on the test later.
No soul, man. No soul.
Anyway, there's a blip on the radar, which turns out to be something that's too small to be a ship. And Kat has another idea with just 2 minor drawbacks.
Why don't we drop the defensive shields?
1, we don't have any defensive
outfit.
shields. And 2, we don't have any defensive shields. Technically speaking, that's only one flaw, but I thought it was such a big one, it was worth mentioning twice.
Good point, well made.
Honestly, my favorite part of this conversation is that Kat's confusing reality with Star Trek. Anyway, suddenly there are computer-generated sparkly things on board, and Rimmer is attracted to them. Suddenly a ship uncloaks itself and Rimmer disappears.
Sir, they've taken Mr. Rimmer.
Quick, let's get out of here before they bring him back.
It turns out that he was beamed aboard a holographic ship with a holographic crew.
Nirvana Crane.
So remember how in the end of season 2 it's revealed that holograms can touch each other for some reason? Well, here Rimmer is able to completely interact with his environment, touch, taste, etc. By the way, if you didn't catch it, this woman's name is Nirvana. Her accent always made it hard to make out, so I had to look it up. It also turns out that the ship has a sexual recreation deck.
Sports and what?
Don't you have a sex deck on your ship?
No.
Well, what do you do when you want to have sex?
It's called a bedroom.
In fact, it's a ship regulation that we all have sexual
Right.
congress at least twice a day.
That must suck for the ones who are asexual.
Here it is considered the height of bad manners to refuse an offer of sexual coupling.
I mean, there are 2,000 people making up that crew. Chances are there's at least one who doesn't feel the need to have sex twice a day. So basically this is a utopian society, at least from Rimmer's perspective. Since holograms don't procreate or carry disease, sex is purely recreational and there are no relationships.
We have developed beyond love, Mr. Rimmer. That is a short-term hormonal distraction which interferes with the pure pursuit of personal advancement.
Meanwhile, Kat has another suggestion with just 2 minor drawbacks.
Break out the laser cannons and give them both barrels.
An adroit suggestion, sir, with just 2 minor drawbacks.
Okay, forget it!
Seriously, I love this running gag. Anyway, Crichton clues into the fact that the ship they encountered is a hollow ship.
Well, now I understand why they didn't bother with a handshake. Hollow crews are legendarily arrogant.
And one of them beams onto Starbug. Cue one of my favorite moments from this
I love this guy.
I love this guy. He reports that the ship is falling apart.
Crew 3.
That Crichton will likely break down in a few years.
Nothing of salvageable value. Ah.
He actually recognizes Kat as a Felis sapien,
Bred from the domestic house cat and about half as smart.
but apparently the hollow ship has encountered them before, so he's uninterested. I love how both Crichton and Kat are completely crestfallen at his reactions to them.
Grossly overweight, unnecessarily ugly.
But Lister isn't going to let him off that easy.
Lister's a red dwarf. We have in our midst a complete smeg pot. Genitalia, small and inoffensive.
However, Binks isn't letting up either.
Thanks to Enlightenment, evidence of primitive humor.
Lister's a red dwarf. Displays evidence of spoiling for a rumble.
Thanks to Enlightenment, the human is under the delusion that he is somehow able to bestow physical violence to a hologram.
Lister's a red dwarf. The intruder seems to be blissfully unaware that we have a rather sturdy hollow whip. You better be history in 2 seconds flat.
Thanks to Enlightenment.
I guess just sticking the cigarette in his mouth and lighting it wouldn't have seemed badass enough.
Quickly, please.
Point Lister. There's also a great outtake that goes with it.
I don't know why I that cigarette.
Meanwhile,
I don't know
Rimmer is
why I
taken to the
fucking ate
bridge.
that cigarette.
Everything I want in my life is here on this ship.
But Mr. Rimmer, you are not an officer.
Captain, I've been in
hold that
effective
cup.
command of Red Dwarf now for nearly 4 years. If I gave the order, those guys would crawl on their bellies across broken glass with their flies unzipped. So don't tell me I'm not an officer, Captain, just because in deep space there's no academy around to award me my pips.
You know, in some ways, he's not wrong. Of course, the bit about the rest of the crew following him without question is bullshit. But he is effectively the leader, and he makes a good point about how experience can be more important than test scores.
You've got to take me.
Well, it turns out that the ship is full, so if he wants to join the crew, he'll have to take a test and score higher than another member, and that member will effectively be erased to make room for him.
Oh.
Your best shot is crew member 4172. You have a 96% probability of failure.
He has 24 hours to prepare for the test. A little later, Rimmer and Nirvana retire to her quarters, and apparently it was great.
You make love like a Japanese meal. Small portions, but so many courses.
Yeah, he isn't sure how to take that. She remarks that it was different than usual and leaves it at that.
We usually talk.
What do you talk about?
Research? New theories?
I'm sorry, I must have seemed very ignorant. I hardly said anything apart from Geronimo.
After Rimmer
Geronimo.
leaves, Nirvana receives the news that she will be the one that Rimmer will be competing against.
That's gives me such a great mental image. Geronimo!
Meanwhile, Rimmer wants to cheat on his test using something called a mind patch. It has to do with taking knowledge from other dead crew members and installing it in Rimmer. Apparently it's risky and could backfire, leaving him a vegetable, but he's willing to take the risk.
I want to have a position of authority on a scout ship exploring uncharted space. Work alongside educated men and women.
And here's a surprisingly honest look into Rimmer's motivation.
Look at me. What do you see? A guy who left home at 16 to become an officer and a gentleman, and ended up as a chicken soup machine operative. Is it any wonder my father had 4 strokes? I did that to him. Me.
Naturally, it doesn't come from the most positive place.
That doesn't make you a failure.
It does in my parents' eyes. It does in the eyes of everyone with eyes.
You will be joining a society where you will be compelled to have sex with beautiful, brilliant women on demand. Am I really the only one here who finds that just a little bit tacky?
Did you forget where you are, Crichton?
I've uploaded the 2 candidates to be inserted into your mind.
So Crichton is about to use the mind patch, and he gives Rimmer some last-minute info and warnings.
Even taking into account the enormous drag factor of your own mind, I still think we'll come up with something pretty special.
Crichton!
A little later, not only does Rimmer have an extremely high IQ, but his personality is different.
Did 1 and 2 are in fact the same thing observed from different presets?
Oh,
Rimmer
Chris
is beamed to
Berry.
the hollow ship and is ready to take
He's
his
amazing.
test.
After you've completed the task at workstation A, you may proceed to workstation B.
I shall undertake both tasks simultaneously if it's all the same to you.
You'd think the captain would notice the change in Rimmer and wonder if something is up. Anyway, everything seems to be going well until Rimmer suddenly goes back to normal. Meanwhile, the crew is interviewing replacements for Rimmer.
This is an opportunity to be revived as a hologram and become a part of the crew. And the crew is you 3.
Look how cute they are.
You spend your time salvaging
They
derelict
are.
spaceships, playing poker and eating curries.
We don't do that much salvaging.
But you do sound like you eat a lot of curries.
Curries are the deal breaker.
I love that.
Mr. Lister had a pizza, and you didn't like it. But then I poured curry sauce all over it, and he just yummed it up.
Crichton sounds so much like Lister's mom here.
I think
He does.
I'm better off where I am.
But you did.
Next candidate.
I love how they had this guy wear Rimmer's old green uniform so they could save money on wardrobe. Anyway, Rimmer shows
You know
up,
it's
tells
true.
Crichton what happened, and wants another mind patch, but it cannot be done.
I'm winning, I'm so close. Who's this? I'm not even gone and you're choosing my replacement.
I thought you weren't coming back.
You actually expect something to go right for me?
He's not wrong, but now Rimmer has to withdraw from the test because he knows he has no chance of winning now.
Or maybe you'd like to have sex sometime next week? I'm free Wednesday morning.
I'm sorry, I'm busy Wednesday. I'm killing myself.
He meets Nirvana in the elevator and admits that he was using a mind patch.
Every time I look in the mirror, I see this. This was a chance to be somebody. Somebody I liked.
But Nirvana convinces him to keep trying.
Underneath all that neurotic mess is someone nice trying to get out.
Are we talking about the same guy?
So you won't give up. Okay? You're going to get your dream. I promise you.
A little later, Rimmer goes back to Red Dwarf and makes an announcement.
I won. What? My opponent withdrew. I'm an officer. I leave tonight.
Later that night, Rimmer makes his goodbye speech.
That over the years, I have come to regard you as people I met.
Touching.
Here are your quarters,
Me
Mr.
every
Rimmer.
time I leave a job.
There must be some mistake. These are Commander Crane's quarters.
Back on the hollow ship, Rimmer finally finds out what happened. That Nirvana gave up her place on the ship so he could stay because she knew how much it meant to him.
Navigation Officer Rimmer reporting, sir.
Arnold, welcome aboard. I trust everything's to your
Permission to speak, sir.
Rimmer reports to the bridge and tells the captain that he is resigning.
Flight Commander Crane has taken leave of her senses and fallen in love with me, sir.
Love? Surely not.
The captain doesn't buy it, sounding a lot like how Rimmer did in the beginning of the episode.
Mr. Rimmer, what you are suggesting is that somehow she cared more for your happiness than she did for her own life.
Yes, sir. I suppose I am, sir.
Really, your resignation solves nothing. After all, the two of you will still be apart.
As he leaves, Rimmer turns and inadvertently repeats a line from the movie they were watching in the beginning.
We won't be apart. We just won't be together. I cannot believe I just said that.
So ends Holoship. So season 5 started out with not too many visual differences. Lister's hat got more furry, Cat is looking even a little more fabulous, Crichton is about the same. The biggest change is Rimmer's uniform switching from green to red. Apparently they liked how the red uniform looked on Camille in the last season and decided it'd be a good look for Rimmer as well. And it's appropriate that Rimmer had an upgrade in uniform, since this episode seems to upgrade his character as well. It's revealed that he is capable of doing something selfless. Of course, he never does anything like that again, but it's still interesting to see. Apparently this episode originally aired either on or around Valentine's Day, and even though the plot is kind of cliche, I honestly think that was intentional due to this story echoing the one they were watching in the beginning, hitting on the irony of how Rimmer mocked that movie for being unrealistic, only to end up doing the exact same thing the protagonist did. So in its own way, it does work. Speaking of which, this show really hit the jackpot with Rimmer. On one hand, he's such an asshole that we want to see him fail, but on the other, he's beat down to the point of reaching underdog status, so sometimes we want him to win. It's like we love him, but we also love to hate him. I can't think of very many characters who can pull off that kind of duality.
Saul Goodman.
Next up is the Inquisitor. See you then.
But Saul Goodman didn't exist yet when I made this video, so...
I don't care. I'm prepared to take the chance.
Even if it costs you your mind.
It's a small price to pay.
I love that little smile. Alright, I'm stopping here, but let me go ahead and... the Inquisitor's next. Alright. Let me get caught up on the chat. And then we will wrap up. Hi, Sean. I don't think I saw you earlier. They're all dead, Dave, or even better, when Holly is navigating at light speed, then by the time you see it, you already passed it, and he's like, well, I gotta go, that was close. Okay. Lister still loves sappy romance films. Gotta love that consistently across seasons. Yeah. I love how Cat was clearly fighting sleep when you first see him. Oh yeah, I think he was. I didn't notice at the time, but I think I remember. I love Cat's jacket in this episode, the colors and the way they catch the light. Yeah, I think I compared him to a disco ball in the Cat video for that one. Cat has good ideas, see? I bet Rimmer would love Titanic. Come on, get to the smegging sinking already. That is 100% Rimmer watching Titanic. I remember the first time we saw this episode, we thought, wow, good effects this season. Yeah, comparatively. Oh, the lady who played Nirvana was a major actress in the UK. I think I remember hearing that in the documentary. I don't think I've seen her in anything, but as I've said before, I don't watch a lot of British TV and such. Good point, well made. Cat's grown as a character and that he accepts the chastising. That's a good point. I don't think I really picked up on that. I just kind of took it as a Cat is dumb gag. But yeah, that's something I could have pointed out. Never mind the asexual crew. What about the gay crew members who have a smaller pool of options, or if sex is so trivial, is everybody bi? Yeah, good point. It's called a bedroom. The great thing about not seeing these vlogs for a long time is that I get to laugh at your commentary again. Yeah, me too, kinda. Every once in a while, I sort of get caught off guard by something I said that I forgot about. Wasn't until I watched your recap that I finally clicked that Nirvana Crane was Bubble on AFAB. I never got into AFAB. AbFab, sorry, AFAB? She was the Grand High Witch's personal assistant, the original version of the witches. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I know who you mean. Holy shit, yeah, I never made that connection. So I guess I have seen her in one thing. One other thing. No feelings, just advancement is another thing only people like Rimmer would like, yeah. Smegpot was a great insult, yeah. Yeah, I remember hearing Binks, the guy who played Binks was in something else too, but I don't remember. Doctor Who, maybe? I forget. I feel like it was something I was, had heard of but hadn't seen. Binks is the sort of character that you love to hate. Oh yeah, he's so smug, but he's like so good at it. Yeah, everybody's really good in this. Should Lister have started with the Hollow Whip? I mean, who knows if he actually has one? He might have just been... He might have just said that. If Craig had said smegging cigarette, they probably would have kept it in. Yeah, possibly. Less sexual people likely view this health rule the same way the rest of us see working out. I don't enjoy the hours I spend in the gym each week, but I endure it for the sake of the long-term benefits. That's a good point. They might just be at a point where they're like, I gotta do this again, whatever. I seriously agree about how odd it is that the captain doesn't smell a serious rat when he sees Rimmer's new appearance and how well he's doing, yeah. The way he snorts at Crichton with his new accent. Yeah, I love that little detail. That's so funny. I like the way you can see Holly smiling and nodding when Crichton talks about curry sauce on the pizza. Yeah, I think I didn't notice that this time around, but I think I remember noticing that in the past. Curry pizza sounds good. Kind of does. Probably not as much curry as Lister would use. Apparently the Russian lady on the Hollow ship now lives in Melbourne. Yeah, I think maybe I remember hearing that she was someone notable too. Oops. We do genuinely feel pity for Rimmer in this scene. I think the music helps, yeah. Why replace Rimmer when you can just make a copy of him? Rule of funny. Wouldn't be much of an episode if they just made a copy and we had to deal with two Rimmers again. I think the reason why the captain doesn't catch on to Rimmer's cheating is because he knows that Crane's his opponent, so it's Pyrrhic victory. Letting him get away with it is more amusing to him. Oh, could be. I love how we get moments where Rimmer's personality is not played for laughs. Yeah, same. You are people I met. You are perfectly adequate colleagues. I'm sure I won't have forgotten you by tomorrow. Hi, Birdie. Wow, you showed up way at the end. I bet we wish someone could shoot that Channel Awkward satellite out of the sky. Yeah. I forgot about Channel Awkward. Yeah, that's funny. Next stream will start on a dark episode. True. Then again, this one did too, so. Hi, Noah. Well, you just barely made it. I know you eventually brought it up in the cat video later, but I love the bit. Even if it costs you your mind, it's a small price to pay, and then grins at Rimmer. Yeah. I think that bit's so cute. Is Cat dumb or just being the cat? I mean, both. He's kind of always both. Cat's comebacks are wittiest this season, too. Yeah, I guess they are. I will always associate Jane Horrocks with her role in Chicken Run as the dirty, ditzy hen Babs. Oh, see, I've seen Chicken Run, too. I didn't realize she was in that. I only saw it once, though, so. I was only gone for 2 minutes. I think it's more they don't care if someone cheats because there are no rules when it comes to personal achievement. Could be. You probably can get curry-themed or flavored pizza. Heck, I remember baked bean pizzas years ago, so anything's possible, I guess. Yeah. Just popped into my head, would it be unfair to compare Rimmer to Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory? I don't know. I don't watch Big Bang Theory. I make it a point not to watch it. Season 5 probably has the best sci-fi concepts of Red Dwarf's run. Maybe. Baked bean pizza and people have problems with pineapple on pizza. I mean, beans seem like they make much more sense because at least they're savory, whereas pineapple is sweet. I personally don't hate pineapple pizza. I think it's fine. It's not my preferred. Not my preferred type of pizza, but I'll eat it. Beans don't seem that weird to me, though, to be honest. I don't know why, but it's bugging me having this full screen when I'm not looking at it, so bink. Oops. Bumped my ears. Let's see what we have next. Inquisitor. Oh, Terraform. Quarantine. Demons and Angels. Yeah, this is a really good season. It ends with Back to Reality, and then I cover Red Dwarf USA. Oh, and then I get started on all the cat videos. It's going to take a while to get through those. Some of these early cat videos are really long. And then season 6. Oh, wow. It's going to take us a couple weeks to get to season 6. Woo, Gunman of the Apocalypse. Again, going to be a while before we get to it, though. We're back on the food stream again. That's true. Hot take, I don't particularly care for pizza. I don't understand that, especially since there's so many different ways you can make pizza. So many different ingredients you can use. I think I saw a curry pizza at a Japanese Pizza Hut ad. Interesting. Yeah, Asian cooking does use curry, so that would make sense. I grew up watching Red Dwarf in SoCal, and one of my good homies had the hookup, and we get a new Red Dwarf VHS tape like every other month. So some of the best memories of my life watching Red Dwarf. Oh, that's cool. We're British. We'll put beans on anything. That's true. It's going to be a really good stream next week. Yeah. These are some really good episodes coming up. Pineapple works well with ham. Yeah, I think so too. Again, not my first choice, but I think it's good. Not great, but good. Demons and Angels is great for giving us Susie Hawley. Takes a while to get to season 6. Fans around at the time could say the same thing, more so about season 7. Oh, right. There you go. So I guess it's sort of appropriate. It's all right, but I wouldn't go out of my way to get a pizza. There's so many better foods out there, in my opinion. Beans on toast, aka skinheads on a raft. That's weird. I have never heard it called that before. Okay, everybody. Time to wind down here. Yeah, I mean, I should be back next week and probably just watching more Red Dwarf videos. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes Listy. Yeah, I'll probably just be watching more Red Dwarf videos. Binks is now in Death in Paradise, a crime drama series alongside Kat. Oh, okay. I guess that's where I heard. That's it, because I've heard of that show. I just haven't watched it. You too, Cinematic Sith. My first choice is whatever option loads as much meat on the pie as possible. Yeah, I love Meat Lover's pizza, but I think a good cheese pizza can be really good too. Thanks for a fun live stream. No problem. Thanks for joining. Everyone's saying thanks for the stream. Thanks for joining, everybody. Why do Americans get so disgusted by beans on toast? I mean, I've never had it, but it doesn't sound bad to me. Okay, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, like I said, probably just more of this next week unless I think of something else to do. But since we've got so many really good episodes coming, I mean, I'll most likely do this next week too. So yeah, see you then. Have a good evening.